Every single day, people walk into British intelligence headquarters. Briefcases, security passes, ordinary faces. But for 20 years, MI5 was hunting one of their own inside those walls. Codename: Suspect 1A, a man they believed was feeding secrets to Russia. 35 officers, millions of pounds, wiretaps across continents, all to catch one man. And in the end, nothing. He walked free. This is Operation Wedlock, declassified June 2025. The truth they hid for 30 years. And this is the first time you are hearing the full truth. Let's start the video. For 20 years, an elite team of British intelligence officers hunted one of their own. 35 operatives, global surveillance networks, fake companies, wiretaps, all to catch a single man they called Suspect 1A, a man who may have been feeding secrets to Russia from inside Britain's most secret service. In the end, they found nothing. He walked away free, and the British government still refuses to admit he ever existed. It began with a whisper from across the Atlantic. The CIA approached MI5 with a warning that sent shockwaves through British intelligence. They believed that somewhere inside MI6's London headquarters, a senior officer was working for Moscow. Not a junior clerk, not a passing informant. A high-ranking officer with access to the deepest secrets of the British state. The CIA had picked up signals, fragments of conversations, traces of money, enough to suggest that Russian intelligence had penetrated the one place Britain considered impenetrable. But they didn't have a name, only a code name: Suspect 1A. MI5 faced an impossible choice: investigate their sister agency, risk paralyzing British intelligence, and destroy careers on a hunch, or do nothing and let a potential traitor continue feeding information to the Kremlin. They chose to hunt. The operation that followed was unprecedented. MI5 assigned 35 officers to the case. They set up a fake private security company in Wandsworth, South London, as a cover for their surveillance teams. They followed Suspect 1A across continents. They monitored his meetings, his phone calls, his bank accounts. They placed listening devices in hotel rooms from the Middle East to Europe, all without telling MI6 what they were doing. The risk was enormous. If MI6 discovered that MI5 was spying on their own officers, the damage to interagency trust would be catastrophic. British intelligence would tear itself apart from within. And if the Russians learned that British counterintelligence was compromised, they would change every operation, burn every source, and vanish into the shadows. But the deeper MI5 dug, the more elusive Suspect 1A became. He traveled frequently. He met with foreign nationals. He had unexplained income. Everything about him smelled of espionage. Yet every time MI5 thought they had him, the evidence dissolved. Money trails led to dead ends. Phone calls turned out to be innocent. Meetings were explained away as standard intelligence work. The investigators began to doubt themselves. Was Suspect 1A simply a cautious professional whose job naturally looked suspicious? Or was he a master spy, trained by the KGB to operate in plain sight, leaving just enough breadcrumbs to confuse his pursuers, but never enough to convict? The timeline stretched across decades. The operation began in the mid-1990s, when the Cold War was supposed to be over, when Russia was weak and chaotic, when no one expected Soviet-style espionage to survive. Yet here was MI5 hunting a Russian mole in the heart of British intelligence, while the world celebrated the end of history. And here is where the story takes its darkest turn. During the early years of Operation Wedlock, the man running Russia's intelligence operations was a former KGB lieutenant colonel. Rising through the ranks of the FSB, his name was Vladimir Putin. Did Putin know about Suspect 1A? Did he personally handle the case? The declassified files do not say, but the possibility has haunted British intelligence for decades. By the early 2000s, Operation Wedlock had consumed millions of pounds and thousands of man-hours. MI5 expanded the hunt. They brought in psychological profilers, financial forensic experts, even former KGB defectors to analyze suspect 1A's behavior. They constructed elaborate timelines, mapped every contact he had ever made, cross-referenced his movements with known Russian intelligence operations around the world. Still nothing. No confession, no dead drop, no signal to a handler. Just the persistent, maddening suspicion that something was wrong, that the evidence was there but invisible, that suspect, 1A, was either the cleanest intelligence officer in British history or the most sophisticated traitor ever to escape detection. In 2015, the operation quietly ended. Suspect 1A had retired from MYOM 6 years earlier, moved abroad, and was living a quiet life. Without proof, without a confession, without even a single piece of evidence that could stand in court, MI5 had no choice but to close the file. He was never arrested, never questioned under caution, never publicly named. To this day, his identity remains a closely guarded secret, known only to a handful of senior intelligence officials who have taken the truth to their graves. So what is the truth? After 20 years and 35 officers, MI5 found nothing. Either suspect 1A was innocent, destroyed by a suspicion that never became proof, or he was so good that he fooled British intelligence for 2 decades. The files released in June 2025 answer neither question. They confirm the operation existed, but the central mystery remains intact. In the world of espionage, the worst secrets are the ones you can never confirm. The operations that consume millions, destroy careers, and end with silence. The spies who may or may not exist. The truths that remain buried in files marked classified. This was Operation Wedlock, the 20-year hunt for a ghost inside the machine, and the machine won. History stories like these, that you will never find in textbooks or news channels, you will only find here. Subscribe to the File Room, because the truth never stays hidden forever.